Picture this. Your sister's stuck in a divorce that's been dragging on for years, tangled up with a guy who's made her life absolute misery. He's abusive, manipulative, and so full of himself he thinks he deserves alimony from her, while he's jobless, broke, and doesn't even own a car. Then one day, he has the nerve to demand his old rusty tools back, acting like he still calls the shots. But what he doesn't know, we've got a plan. A plan so clever, so perfectly petty. It's going to leave him humiliated and us laughing all the way to the bank. Stick around, because this revenge story is going to make you cheer. You don't mess with family. If you've ever wanted to see someone who's been wrong get the ultimate payback, this one's for you. Smash that like button if you love a good justice story. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss more tales like this. It's going to be a wild ride. My sister, Emily, has been through hell. Today, you'll hear how we turned the tables on her arrogant ex and made him regret every second he underestimated us. Let's dive in. My sister, Emily, is the kind of person who lights up a room. She's a nurse, working long shift to save lives, always with a smile for her patients. She's the one who'd bake cookies for neighbors just because it's Tuesday. But for years, her life was a nightmare because of one man. Her husband, Derek. At first, Derek seemed like a catch. Rugged, charming. The kind of guy who'd show up to a barbecue with a firm handshake and a story about his latest construction job. He loved to talk about his tools, like they were proof he was some kind of alpha male. Emily fell for it. She was young, hopeful, and thought his confidence meant strength. But it didn't take long for the mask to slip. Behind closed doors, Derek was a different person. He'd yell at Emily over the smallest things. Dinner not ready on time? He'd scream until she flinched. A bill paid late? He'd call her useless, right in front of their friends. And then there were the darker moments. Shoves that left bruises. Broken dishes scattered across the kitchen floor. Nights where Emily locked herself in the bathroom, crying just to feel safe. She stayed way too long, always hoping he'd change. Always believing the apologies he'd mutter the next morning. Derek's addiction made it worse. Alcohol, pills, whatever he could get his hands on. He'd spiral, disappear for days, then come back blaming Emily for his problems. "You're stressing me out," he'd say, like it was her fault he couldn't hold it together. By the time Emily finally worked up the courage to file for divorce, she was a shadow of herself. I remember the day she signed the papers. Her hands shook so hard she could barely hold the pen. Her voice broke as she whispered to me, "I just want to be free, Jake." I'm her big brother, Jake. I've always been protective. When we were kids, I'd scare off the bullies who teased her at school. But watching Emily suffer like this, it was different. It wasn't just anger I felt. It was this deep, burning need to make things right. Derek wasn't just hurting her. He was trying to break her. And I wasn't going to let that happen. But Derek wasn't going to let her go without a fight. For 2 years, he dragged out the divorce, using every trick in the book. He'd skip court dates, claiming he was too sick to show up, then turn around and send Emily taunting texts. "You'll never get rid of me," he'd write. It was like a game to him, a way to keep control. He even demanded alimony from Emily, who was working double shifts to pay the bills while he hadn't held a steady job in months. 8 months ago, his unemployment checks ran out. He'd been kicked out of their house after one fight too many, and now he was couch surfing carless, scraping by on odd jobs. But did that make him humble? Not a chance. He still acted like the world owed him something. Every time he called, I saw the toll it took on Emily. Her shoulders would slump, her eyes would go dull, and she'd clutch her phone so tight her knuckles turned white. "Why won't he just leave me alone?" she'd whisper. It broke my heart. I'd sit there, fists clenched, wishing I could make him disappear. But I knew we had to be smart. Derek was the kind of guy who'd twist anything against us if we gave him the chance. Then came the day that changed everything. Emily's phone buzzed with a new message from Derek. "I need my tools back," it said. "Got a job lined up. You better have them ready." No please, no thank you, just pure entitlement, like he still had power over her. Emily stared at the text, her face pale, her hands trembling. "He doesn't even care about the tools," she said. He just wants to mess with me, to keep me scared. I could feel the anger boiling in my chest. My jaw tightened, and I looked at her, my voice steady. We're not just giving him his tools. We're giving him a lesson he'll never forget. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time in months, I saw a spark of hope. She nodded slowly. What's the plan, Jake? This is where it gets good. Derek's tools weren't just any tools. They were his pride and joy, the one thing he cared about more than himself. He'd always brag about them, like they proved he was still a real man. But they were a mess. Rusted wrenches, a hammer with a cracked handle, a socket set missing half its pieces. When he moved out, he left them in Emily's garage, and she'd been stuck storing them, waiting for the day she could legally hand them over. That day had come, but we weren't going to make it easy for him. First, we checked with Emily's lawyer. She had to return Derek's personal property, but we could set the terms. That gave us room to play. So we came up with a plan to give Derek exactly what he asked for, with a little twist. Derek wasn't just getting his tools back. He was getting a masterclass in humility. I spent hours in the garage, sorting through his junk. The tools were pathetic. Wrenches caked in rust. Screwdrivers with chewed-up tips. A socket set so incomplete, it was practically useless. I photographed every single item, documenting their condition, in case Derek tried to pull a fast one and claim we damaged his stuff. Then, I packed them into a cardboard box, taping it just tight enough to hold together. But here's the part that made it genius. I pulled out one tool, a single, shiny 10mm socket. I slipped it into my pocket and grinned at Emily. This one stays with us, I said. She looked confused, holding the socket up to the light. Why this one? She asked. I winked. Trust me, Em. It's the one tool every mechanic needs, and it's the one he'll miss the most. We set the box on the porch, tucked out of sight from the street, but in clear view of Emily's porch camera. The trap was set. All we had to do was wait. The next morning, Emily's phone pinged. The porch camera had caught something. There he was, Derek, strutting up the driveway like he owned the place. His sneakers were worn, his hoodie stained, but that smug grin was still plastered on his face. He grabbed the box without a second thought, didn't even look around, and shuffled off. Emily and I watched the footage, holding our breath. He has no idea, I whispered, a grin spreading across my face. Here's the thing about that 10mm socket. If you know anything about mechanics, you know it's the holy grail of tools. It's the one you reach for all the time, the one that somehow always goes missing. Every gearhead has a story about losing their 10mm. And Derek? He was about to add his own chapter to that story. We didn't just give him his tools. We gave him a box of frustration, a reminder that he'd never have everything he needed to feel whole again. Days went by, and then it happened. Derek's number flashed on Emily's phone. He was furious. Where's my 10mm socket? He demanded. I need it for this job. Emily played it cool, her voice steady as she said, I gave you everything you left here, Derek. Check the box. He cursed, accused her of stealing, but we were ready. Those photos proved every tool was accounted for, except that one socket, which we'd never officially received. He had no proof, no leverage, just his own incompetence staring him in the face. Emily hung up, and we burst out laughing. For the first time in years, she looked free. Her shoulders relaxed, her smile lit up the room, and she hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Thank you, Jake, she whispered. He's not in control anymore. That moment, it was everything. All the anger, all the pain, it melted away, replaced by this quiet, triumphant joy. Word got back through mutual friends. Derek was a mess. He was ranting at his latest odd job, fumbling through his rusty tools, cursing about his missing 10mm. How am I supposed to work without it? He'd yell, throwing wrenches in frustration. It was perfect, not because we'd ruined his life, but because we'd taken away his ability to keep hurting Emily. He'd been humiliated, not by some big, dramatic showdown, but by his own arrogance. He thought he could keep bullying her, keep demanding things, but we'd turn his own game against him. Sometimes, revenge isn't about destruction. It's about taking back power. It's about showing someone they can't hurt you anymore. For Emily, that missing 10mm socket was more than a tool. It was a symbol that she was done being pushed around, done letting Derek dictate her life. And for me, it was proof that sometimes the smallest moves make the biggest impact. That little socket, tucked away in Emily's drawer, was our victory, a reminder that we'd won. What do you think? Would you have kept that socket or come up with an even sneakier plan? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This story showed me that justice doesn't always come with a bang. Sometimes it's a quiet, clever strike that leaves a bad guy scrambling. If this story made you cheer for Emily and want to high-five me for that socket trick, smash that like button. Tell us in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen or pulled off yourself? Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories of karma, justice, and epic comebacks. We've got plenty more where this came from. Oh, and Derek? He's still out there, probably searching for that 10mm socket. See you in the next one.